Hello, and we are live. This is episode 43 of the Dash Force Free Amigos podcast. And I'm Mark Mason. I'm joined by my two fellow amigos, Joel. Say hello, Joel.
Hello, Joel.
And Brian, aka Mastermind. How are you doing?
Hey now.
And today we've got a super special guest, man of the hour, Fernando, aka Dashcore CMO. How's it going, Fernando?
Hi, amigos.
Excellent. Wow. I'm so happy that you've come along and we can talk to you in the live chat already. It's buzzing. People are excited. The news today in Dash, if you've not seen the Dash Evolution demo, you've got to watch it. But after the podcast, okay? It's a 25-minute video. There's plenty of time. But wow, what a great day for Dash. So, yes. Joel, you've just done the article. We've just published the article on the Dash Evolution patents, right? So, for those that have not read the article yet, what was the gist of the article?
I forget already. It was like a couple hours ago. No, just kidding. It's basically from we've been informed that the Dash core team has filed preliminary patents for the Evolution platform's technology. Now, why this is important is because anytime you release some kind of technology, especially in the open and honestly, to a certain extent, naive world of cryptocurrency and developing technology, you have all these corporations, banks, possibly governments looking with a hawk eye, seeing all this technology and seeing what can they just steal, do a Thomas Edison, just steal and put a patent on it and keep the original creators from even using it. And so because Dash is meant to be open and free for the whole world to use, before releasing something like this publicly, it was imperative to have a defensive patent so it cannot be patented by another organization and it can be remain open source and free for everyone to use. So now that those patents are in, now it's possible to start talking much more openly about what's going on behind the scenes with the Evolution platform. And seems like it's a really, really exciting thing.
Are all the patents in now? They're all done, or we're still waiting on some?
Fernando can probably help with that a little more.
There is just one patent going on, and it's already filled. It covers all the. Well, probably I should not be trying to explain this without a developer at my side, but it covers all the user accounts in the blockchain thing that you can see in the demo. So that's the foundation for all the blocks that build Evolution. So that one is filled. It doesn't go public until 18 months. So all the details are still private. But we are going to start releasing the different pieces and explaining. This demo you've seen today, we already saw another version internally like a couple months ago or 6 weeks. This one is much more polished. We saw a first version like a week ago, and then Chuck and Joshua recorded this second version last week, I believe, or 3 days ago. And the intention was to show everything because we are eager to start talking about Evolution, but we couldn't release details because of this patent had not been filled yet. Now that it is, there's going to be a information release plan. We're going to be publishing a lot of things in the next few weeks, months, and that will lead us to launch sometime in the second half of the year, how it's been said before. So it's really exciting, finally being able to start talking about it. If you see the demo, it's great. It basically shows how Dash creates a new layer in the protocol. You should get Chuck to explain this in next week or whatever. But basically, we are using the blockchain to validate another layer of information where you can store user account information, but it's validated by the blockchain. You don't want to put all that information in the blockchain because it's expensive. And then because of that, you can build apps, decentralized applications. So finally, we have something that it's similar to smart contracts. It's called data contracts. The difference is that the processing is done at the client instead of in the network, but it's pretty exciting. We are opening a whole new set of possibilities But again, you should get Chuck to explain the details. He's great at explaining this kind of stuff, and he really knows about it. I just repeat what I hear.
Yeah, it's a great, absolutely great video. And I think that key bit you were just talking about, I think that's the thing that's going to actually turn a lot of heads, especially in the Ethereum world, because there's a line in the video where they say this, this is kind of like Bitcoin, Ethereum in one, but better. And for smart contracts as well, I think people are going to look at this in a whole new light. I think for developers, it's going to be really, really exciting. Does this feel like a really big weight off your shoulders, because everyone's been pestering Core? We want it. Yeah. We want updates on Evolution, and you guys have been sitting on your hands because you've been waiting to release something. And now this is really the first video of the live test of it going out. And
I can tell you that it's a huge relief for most people in the team, because I mean, there's a lot of work that has been already done and a lot of work that is being done, but because we couldn't show it, I understand community saying, hey, are you really developing something? What are those 50 people doing in the team?
Yes, I know some people were like, well, if we don't get an Evolution demo by summer, then I'm going to sell like 15 of my 30 masternodes. I heard some people saying stuff like that.
I want 30 masternodes.
Wow.
I'd like just one. I'd like just half. I mean, crap.
That's crazy. Well, anyway, it's been a huge relief. And also, I mean, I've published, related to communication with the community, I've published just an hour ago or something like that. We are going to reboot our blog. It's blog.dash.org. We had started that long ago, but it was basically abandoned. And we're going to have many people from the team writing, because there was an eagerness inside to communicate with the community. And this came from one people in the team discussing how we should improve our communication. I said, hey, why don't we start this? And we start writing. And in the post I wrote today, I explained how a lot of people from the team flocked in. We have already a line of people wanting to write. The idea behind this blog is give you a glimpse of what Dashcore is and what are we doing, how it's not official communication in the sense like it's going to be highly polished. Everything is going to be edited. But it's getting some information out, and a lot of people in the team are eager to do this. So, but there I explain why it didn't happen before. One factor is that the growth has been huge in the team. I mean, we went from 15, 20 semi-volunteers. We were getting paid a few $100s. So everyone had other things going on, or most everyone, to a really professional team of more than 60 people. So that growth is painful internally and externally. I mean, internal communication was not perfect either. So now finally we are at the point where we can start breathing and act in a more deliberate way. And and then internal communication is improving, and we want to start also improving the external things. And there are many people in the team really wanting to do this. So and the other factor is evolution that we couldn't talk about. So in reality, that's what people care about. I mean, I can do as many updates about how the team works, whatever. If you don't see evolution, people are not gonna care, because what people want to see is evolution. Whatever I have to say, no one cares. They want to see evolution.
They just want to see something. They want to see a picture of some kind, something moving, something shiny. So there you go.
That's excellent.
Good thing. Yes, Ryan Taylor just retweeted the article that Dashforce News did on this. So clearly he's willing to get the work going pretty widely as well. This is the thing about the patent thing. Obviously, we don't want to talk too long about the whole patent thing, but it really underscores that Dash is a serious project. And obviously, there's a lot of serious hardcore professionals in the crypto space. I don't want to dump on any of them. However, there is something different about not just releasing some tech and trying to improve it and then just saying, oh yeah, this is going to change everything. Everyone's going to be using this and the whole world, and not have a step-by-step plan that's years in advance. And then, so first thing, how are we going to get this in the average user's hands? I see a lot of people like promoting, coins like even Bitcoin and Litecoin and other things like that, just saying, oh, well, just get everyone to use it without kind of addressing these key problems for mass adoption and just saying, well, someone else will figure that out. Well, someone else will build a front end wallet that looks really nice, is easy to, someone else will take care of that, and then just sort of spray and pray, like they call, right? Just spray out technologies, spray out updates, just pray that people use it. And then this very deliberate, organized effort, professional effort, at the same time as being one of the most decentralized projects and ecosystems in the entire crypto space. That's something you just don't see. This is something that's really different. And I think that, my personal opinion, right, a lot of these projects end up being used to an immature kind of communication style of, we did this, it's going to be great, look at selfie of me in the airport flying to here to talk about how great my project is, and all this kind of like immature exuberance, and people aren't ready to throw money at something like Dash that is very patient, very polished, very professional, and makes no major mistakes.
Speaking of serious, first question for Fernando. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Right, talking about being serious. Is it true that Dashy's milkshake brings all the best devs to the yard?
It is, and it will be more true now that we're talking evolution. Evolution will open a lot of possibilities to third-party developers. So even more devs will be coming to our yard. I'm pretty sure we'll develop a very healthy development community.
Excellent.
Yes, and that's really the good part about Ethereum. Giving Ethereum props for a second there.
Absolutely.
Because of the platform, it's really attracted all kinds of developers all over the place. And in a space that's been basically Bitcoin doing the serious work and then other coins kind of doing me too, trying to carve out a little bit of the pie, Ethereum's kind of kept going because the ecosystem grows, because you can build so much on the technology. And Dash entering into that space will be, in my view, a very big game changer.
Absolutely. I'm really eager to for us to start publishing our evolution APIs. When that happens, we just have a demo today. Let's not go overboard and celebrate. But when we start publishing our APIs and we have all these platforms open for third-party developers, we are going to start, we are entering into the hackathon circuit. We are going to start doing all kind of events for developers. So I'm really excited about that.
Okay. Well, you just mentioned Core's going to reactivate the blog and start updating that again. Yep. So is that code saying that you're going to do a refresh on the dash.org website? Because that's kind of propped up before that you want to do a redesign, or is this going to be a staged approach?
No, this blog thing is completely separate to that. This came in a conversation about communication. And one team member that I wanted to mention in that blog post, but he deleted that and he said, I don't want that much attention on me, so I won't mention him. But one developer said, hey, we should start writing in the blog. We have it completely abandoned. And I said, that's a great idea. And this was like 3 days ago. And then I said, okay, anyone who is interested in writing, please tell me, and we'll create a channel for this. We created a list of topics. We are coordinating ourselves. Some people just want to edit other people's work. Other people want to write. And suddenly we have like 12 people in your team eager to write. So that's one completely separate effort. Well, it happens in a context of everyone wanting to communicate more. And then the website is a different thing. We want to work on that because the project has grown a lot. And right now we have different audiences, different groups of people interested in that, and the information is a bit mixed in the blog, so in the website. So we need to work on that. We'll refresh that. We'll do a new structure. We probably will do a site for merchants, just for them, because if you mix merchants and users and all that, that's tricky. Maybe another one for developers. We are working into that right now. We need to set the structure first, and then we'll do development. But that thinking part is going to be long, and it will take us some time, but we want to have something much better and with more thought behind, because the project is at a different stage that when we launch the current website. This is like the third or fourth one we've had, and each one was better than the previous one, and it made sense at that moment. But we've overgrown that, so we are gonna do a new one. But that's unrelated to the blog. The blog is a team effort to open a window to what we do every day.
It's all very exciting news. It sounds like everything's finally coming together. I know one thing that everybody's been waiting for and excited about is the rebranding.
Woo!
Yeah.
That's also coming. There's a slight change of plans, but everything will be live next week.
Oh,
Next
wow.
week. Wow. Well, okay, because there was, with the core update, there was I think it was Brian that was quoted saying that towards the second half of March, which we're kind of just in now, you were going to speak to the master nodes and show them the logo or something. So how's that going to work? How's this going to move forward?
Yeah, we are still finalizing the details, but we hired one agency to do a branding project. They've already finished that. We had some options, and even inside the team, there was some discussion. I prefer this one or this other. And in the end, we realized, everyone has his own taste. And there was a recommendation by some professionals, but we still have had some doubts. So we did some testing. We did 550 interviews in 5 different countries, because we realized that even in the team, regional sensibilities were important. So we did a test in 5 countries for more than 500 people, and that testing gave us a very clear answer. There was like one of the options. There was like 2 new options, and then we also tested the old logo, the current one, with a slightly brighter blue, so it was a bit happier, and because everyone acknowledged that it needs some polishing. So we tested the 3 options, and this one that the agency proposes won in every category. We made different questions, and it was great. It tested really well. So we were gonna do a confirmation vote for the masternodes. Just say, listen, this is what we got before we apply it. You tell us if you agree or not. This is all the information we have, but this is, we want to do governance properly, and this is what we got. But then a few weeks ago, someone else came in with a different proposal on their own. It's someone who is in Dash. It's a very professional designer. He was like a partner at a very big branding agency, and he was doing some work already. He said, listen, I want to take part in this. And I don't need to get paid now. If you use it, we get into an agreement. But I want to develop a proposal. I really feel very strongly about it. And then we say, okay, that's a change of plans, but we got this free work by someone really good. So let's show it also to the masternode. So we are finishing all this information to put together. We'll start the discussion first in the forum sometime next week. When everything fits together. So we can have some back and forth before starting to vote. And then we make a proposal, and masternode choose. Do we want this proposal or this other one or this thing? Or we keep what we have. Maybe people say, no, I got a tattoo with the current logo. You can't ever change it.
Which there have been a few people, yes.
I know. So both proposals have some continuity on what we have. One is a bit funkier than the other one, but they reflect 2 lines of thinking. One is like more disruptive, and the other one is more continuous. It's like more a very polished, refreshing of our current logo. So I think everyone will have something they can agree with. And then let's see how it goes. I'm pretty sure it's going to be quite messy, because branding is very emotional. And although it's a technical thing in the end, there are people who make their lives, that torment for 3 days about the corner of an S should it have these 3 pixels here or not? And then they test that and they think about it. So it's not, I mean, there is a lot of science behind it, but in the end, we all experience it in an emotional way. So it's going to be a really intense discussion. I'm pretty sure about it. But also voting is the only way to really close it. Because we thought about, in the beginning, we thought this is a technical matter. We don't vote on code. We don't have to vote on this. But then we are an open community. We are decentralized. And if we don't vote on this, the discussion about this being better or not than the old logo could take years, like the block size discussion in Bitcoin. We have a system to settle discussions, which is voting. Whatever is voted is law. Yeah. So
now
that's good.
There's a question in the live chat that I kind of is in line of something I was thinking of. Can't we use it all? And my thought on that is, what happens if there's, say, 3 really great logos that come out and one of them wins a masternode vote by narrow margins, like barely gets through, and someone else, some other major groups in the community say, no, I'm going to use the other one. I thought that was better. I don't care what the vote says. They do say Dash Force starts branding with a renegade logo, and then you got, say, Feedbands doing his advertising. He puts all these advertisements with the 3rd logo, and so you have 3 logos going around. I think there's nothing to do. I think there's nothing to do to stop that. But will they all work together anyway?
That can happen no matter what we do. That was one of the concerns. I mean, if we don't vote, someone don't like it, and maybe they don't use it. And then, but I think that the community and the masternodes, we all agreed on a system to settle things, which is voting. So if we vote on something, I don't matter how wide or thin is the margin. I think we should all use that. Anyway, this is decentralized. Someone wants to use something different, so be it. I think the majority of the community will align behind the chosen option, and it'll be good. I mean, right now people can tweak the logo anyway, and people don't do it. And many people don't like it.
They do.
They for countries. That's
okay. I mean, it's okay.
Is a rebranding, is it just the logo, or is it going to be the messaging as well? Is that part of it?
There's some work done on messaging, but it's not gone really deep. We're going to work on messaging now. We did some exercise around that with the agency that came up with the first proposal, Ogilvy. When we were in London for the DAS conference, their partner traveled to London because there were a few of us together. So we had a really good session, and then I've had many conversations with them. We have some ideas about what are the values of the brand, that where do we want to go, but now we need to develop that. Next, be also opening that discussion to all stakeholders in the community. We are planning on doing some focus groups and all that kind of thing to really polish our branding messaging. The strategy team is going to be leading that and putting together a plan so we can get every opinion and build around that. We thought about doing it externally, but we are going to do it internally because we think it makes more sense.
So when all the branding is finalized, will there be some comprehensive guide? Now, the reason for that question, of course, is Dash's ecosystem is so huge now. We have people like MMA star Chael Sonnen is now branding everything with Dash in his ringside promotion. We have Ben Swan, who's putting Dash branded stuff all over the place. He's doing co-branded Dash Truth and Media merchandise as we speak.
Dash
Force, yes, and Dash Force One, the Dash Racers airplane. Like I myself am doing at least 6 conferences all over the country this year alone. And it's like there's a lot of different groups moving together for Dash. So will there be one good spot for everyone wanting to help promote Dash who's not involved with the core team to go and access the branding and the style guides and everything to make sure that they're in line with the same unified message?
All the assets will be available for everyone. Whatever agency we choose, they'll develop a comprehensive branding style guide. They'll make the assets available, in different format sizes. vector graphics, images, whatever is needed, it's going to be available for everyone to apply with some guidelines. But again, we can't really control if people respect those guidelines or not. Right now in the dash.org website, there's a page with logos and some guidelines, and people sometimes apply them, sometimes not. Whatever we do, it's going to be available for everyone to use. And
now,
the process is going to take long because, I also have T-shirts and things, and I'm not going to throw them away, and they are going to become retro, and that's cool.
Of course.
So when will it be finalized? When is it going to be finalized? Is it? You said it's going to come out, and then I guess we're going to vote next month.
No, this month.
Oh wow, we're going to vote this month.
Yeah, so we published this week. I think a couple of weeks or 12 days for discussion, 10, 12 days for the decision. I think it's good. We don't need to be discussing about the nuances for months. I think, opening it to before we applied, it's already very messy. So I think we need to make this process as short as possible. I don't think we need to do a lot of. We need to do some discussion, but I think it can be done in this voting cycle. The votes, I think, end on April 1st, which is a weird day.
There's going to be multiple proposals, and people are going to vote on which logo they like the best.
We are still discussing how we do this in terms of everything in one proposal, and then you vote one thing or the other depending on what you want, or we do different proposals, and whatever comes up higher, that's the one chosen. We still are, because every system has its problems, and we are still working on that. But we'll do a full explanation, obviously, about how we do it. That's why first we launch the information in the forum. Tuesday, Wednesday, something like that. And we can start the discussion, and then we make the proposal or whatever we want to do later in the week, and people have a few days to vote and express their opinion.
Can you reveal the newcomer? Is it individual, or is it like an agency? Is it a collective? Because it sounds quite major. Like, is it like someone that's really well known and they've done like logos for like Coca-Cola and things like that? Because that would be good for marketing within itself. If it's someone quite big, or am I misunderstanding?
Both players are quite big. On one side, you have one very well. Ogilvy we hired. It's a huge agency. Last year. We're working with Ogilvy in Spain. Last year, they won one of the big prizes in advertising, the Cannes Lions prizes. The Madrid office, they won a prize for Banco Santander. So in our sector, they won one of those prizes. They are in advertisement, not exactly in brand. But this is one of the big agencies in the world. And then the other one is a former partner of one of these big branding agencies that went solo, and he has his small boutique firm, and they do really high quality work. So both of them, in terms of PR, it's like we have the same designer that did this or that. In that sense, I think we have
what happens on both sides. What happens if the community pick the new one? Because you're stuck in the middle. You're between a rock and a hard place, because if people pick the new one, you've still got to work with Ogilvy and say, look, well, nice try, but the community's picked this one now, so you've got to work with this one.
Yes. So to add to that question, if whatever Ogilvy comes up with, will you allow PivX to bid on it, or Smart Cash for a reduced price, and then just turn it to their logo?
No, that work. We got funding from the masternodes. They did the job, and they are getting paid. They've already got part of the fee, because there was a contract in place. We own everything that comes out of that project. Then it's up to us if we want to use it or not. Obviously, I know the people in the team, and they will be disappointed if we don't use it. But they understand this is we are a very special project. we are not the average corporate client they do. So if the community doesn't vote for that one, we close that, we write off that expense. I don't think this should come, the decision should be made on a few, on some money. Money is important, obviously, but if we have this second option that if we use, we would need to pay some amount of money to finalize that, because we need to buy the rights for all that and the work. But I don't think we should decide on branding on just significant but not huge amount of money. I think we should choose wherever we really feel it's the best option for Dash. This is something that is going to last for years, and it's going to take us through a very long journey to mainstream. So
is Ogilvy going to be? Go ahead.
I was going to say, insist on the message that this should not be decided on some money, in my opinion. Although, obviously, if we choose one of the options, there's some extra cost. And we'll provide details on that. So masternodes can vote with all the information, but I don't think that's the biggest thing we need to worry about in that vote.
Is Ogilvy involved with like the renaming? I know Chuck said that the Evolution release is not actually going to be Evolution, or are they involved with that?
No, that we're doing internally. Evolution in the end is just one new version of the Dash protocol. It has many new functionalities, but it's Dash. Evolution was the internal code name because it's a huge release, so we could refer to it with some name, but it's a very it's still Dash.
Yeah, no, a lot of people have been asking, especially because of Google and Facebook have become very recalcitrant about cryptocurrencies. And so I know that there was a big marketing proposal that generated a lot of buzz in both positive and negative ways, and just a lot of discussion. And now it seems like a big part of the plan is not going to work out, at least to the public. It looks like it's not going to work out as planned. Can you talk a little bit about how the Google and Facebook ad bans will affect what you're going to do with that proposal?
Yeah, absolutely. Google and Facebook, Facebook happened already a couple months ago. So Google following Facebook there is not a huge surprise. We all knew it could happen. I talked with other proposal owners who have advertisement proposals, and this was a concern everyone had. It's not a huge problem, in my opinion, although it's a problem, but mostly because it paints everyone in crypto in a very bad way. It's like you can't advertise because you are going to scam people. I don't like that. We do things properly. We should not be treated like those ICOs that do these very unethical things with their advertisement. But having said that, I also understand that for Google or Facebook to distinguish between one thing or the other is not that easy. I think they have the means and they should be doing that. But I also understand that they just want to reduce their risk. And people could sue them or whatever. I think they are making a huge mistake because they are excluding a very important nascent industry from their ecosystems, and they will lament that in the future. I also think they will come back and they will change their opinion. This will put some entry barriers into some new entrants that do these kind of things. But I think both Google and Facebook will eventually come back to their mind. And in terms of our proposal, it's true. Last month we did a proposal for an advertisement budget, which was quite big, and there was a lot of discussion about it. Because of that discussion, I was already planning to spread that budget into a longer period, because also with the price dropping, I think we need to be more conscious of how we spend money. The thing with advertising is that it's very expensive. It can get very expensive. So I was not planning on doing advertising in a traditional way. I mean, because our competitors spend billions upon billions, so you can't really outspend them. So the idea
So
was
what you're saying is Dash can't afford this.
Well, to give you an
Not
idea,
yet.
Chase Bank advertising budget in the US last year was something like 4 point something billions. I mean, to afford that with, I would say, and I don't think we need that. I mean, it's this is huge. I mean, crypto is very big. We are asking people to redefine how they think about money, about payments. This is very deep. This is rooted into who we are. So you can't really change people with an ad. The idea behind the ads is that they can support other things. Two things mainly: boots on the ground. So the idea was, in certain places, it makes sense to push the message in a specific audiences, very targeted. But for example, Venezuela, there are a ton of projects going on. Maybe you can do some ads in Venezuela and help them get some brand awareness. So when they go talk with someone, the name does rings a bell. So but for very specific and very targeted audiences. And the other part, which is the one that sometimes it's difficult to understand, is we were planning on doing some advertising to get some info on our audience and users. Basically, we know nothing about who is using Dash. We know anecdotal things, but we don't have a database of users. We don't track people in our website. So in the end, we know very little about who is using us. Only what we hear in the community. We talk with a user here, a user there, but we don't have very good information. So the idea is that with ads, you can do very targeted campaigns and test different things and learn about your audience. For example, we had a campaign in Facebook planned when everything was banned, and we canceled that. But in the process of setting up that campaign and measuring audiences, we realized that because Facebook sells you, by the way, anyone using the internet should learn a bit about how ads work and how they track you, because it's scary sometimes. So as a user,
I know. I've actually used the Facebook ads before for highly targeted advertisements. I was part of the Free State Project, and they were trying to get people who care about liberty to move to New Hampshire. I mean, that's what this whole logo is about. And as part of that, they got highly targeted Facebook ads based on people who like Ron Paul, who like precious metals, who like cryptocurrency. Bitcoin was a big one of those. And so by targeting that through Facebook, basically Facebook knowing everything about you, for better or for worse, probably worse, but we were able to get under $10 per person to sign a pledge to move to New Hampshire. So that was a quite efficient way. But as you're saying, through highly specific targeting.
Yeah, but besides getting those signups, that in our case was not even the main driver, because we've done some market research, and brand awareness. Our brand awareness is not that high. Usually, you need users to know you exist, then you need them to think about you, then you need them to convert and use you, and then you need them to repeat. We are still working in the highest part of that pipeline. We're working on awareness. But what you can do with these targeted ads is that, as you know, you create the audience for your campaign, and then you learn a lot about that people. And in that phase, for example, we learned that everyone that had some interest in crypto in Venezuela was much younger than in the UK or Spain. So that's important information because knowing the age of the people who is your target audience that are interested in crypto is important. I mean, if the audience is over 40 years old, you probably need to start thinking about the font size in the wallet, because like in my case, now I need glasses to read. If it's 25, that's not such a big deal. So all that information in the planning phase,
right here. This is
yeah, I can read that more or less. So you get that, but then when you run the campaign, you see what subgroups into those audiences react to your message. You can test different message. Maybe you test one which is more, which talks about the fees, another one that talks about privacy, another one that talks about the speed, and then measuring how they react to those things, you start to see what people value. And then, because with advertising, everything is tracked, and this is the part that is also useful. It's not nice, but if you are using Facebook and you are clicking on ads, you are already forgetting. I mean, you are already being tracked everywhere. So when you click into that ad, Facebook is gonna follow you, and then Facebook is gonna tell us, okay, the people who react to your ads and they watch the video, or they click on the ad, or they go to your website or whatever, they visit these other 10 websites, and this is who they are. This is their demographics. This is their they are gonna explain you very well who they are. So with that information, you can fine tune your organic channels, the ones you don't pay. If we know that everyone in crypto is reading Vogue for whatever reason, then our PR agency can go to Vogue and say, hey, listen, we have this story to pitch you, or we know what messages resonate with them, and we can tweak our social media strategy. We know what areas of the world react better to us. We can tweak our conference strategy, and we know where we need to sponsor meetups. So it was a way to gather information. Right now, with Facebook and Google banning us, those two big platforms are gone. The smaller platforms are still available. They don't provide as much information. So we are working on seeing what we can do, what we can't. We are going to run a campaign in Google, because it's starting next week. It's the one that we got a specific proposal. It was going to be done in Facebook. Then we needed to redo that for Google. And because the ban enters into effect in June, this one is already paid. It's already prepared. It's going to run next week. We'll get some information from that, hopefully, useful information. We won't spend much more in Google, because if they are banning us, we can't have that information continuity. So it doesn't make any sense to pour more money there. We may do, there are many things you can do. We have, for example, a proposal for a guy that manages influencer channels in YouTube in the technology space. So his proposal was, let's run a campaign in those channels. I mean, standard advertising, pre-roll videos, ads on the side of the video. We run a campaign in 100, 200 channels. Then we see in which of those channels the audience reacts better. And then we approach those 10 channels and we pitch them the Dash story. So they do a video about Dash, because these are technology channels for early adopters. So there could be a feed there. So we still can do a few things, but mostly as a support for other activities, because as I said, we can't outspend the big guys. And also this is too deep a decision to get into crypto as to be decided like you decide on soap in the supermarket. You probably need someone holding your hand and explore, or a very good video explaining things in detail to really get you into crypto. So ads were just one part of the plan. It's the one that we were starting earlier because it takes long to really gather that information. But there are many other parts. We're going to be launching things for the community and for grassroots efforts. We have a very comprehensive conferences plan. We're going to be doing market research. We're going to be working on content. There are many parts in our marketing plan that are going to be starting soonish, because another part in the marketing plan is hiring the people. At the moment, it's just me, and I can't clone myself. But and there's a limitation in time. But we are hiring people to help with all these programs we want to run in parallel. And hopefully we'll be making announcements of all these parts being launched in the next few months.
What about evolution, though? That's my major concern, because do you have a marketing launch strategy that you're working on? Like, have you spoke about TV adverts, or because we've only got one chance to launch and do this right? And we obviously, I know we need to finalize the logo and build up onto that, but strategy wise, we really need to get this right. And have you had conversations or thoughts into the build up to evolution, just to get the message out there?
We have some internal conversations going on around that. Precisely this afternoon, I was talking about. No, but no way. The thing with the launch of Evolution is that in reality, it's going to be a continuous process. It's not like I take out the curtain and you see Evolution behind that and it's fully finished. I mean, we are going to be releasing demos. We're going to be releasing an MVP second half of this year, but then the different features are going to be released in phases. So there's not like an aha moment. It's not like September or November 21st, Evolution is launched. We're going to launch an MVP with some features. Then a couple months after that, some new feature will be added. And then 2 months down the road, another one. So it's going to be a process. So you don't have that moment of truth. And in any case, we could not do TV even if we wanted. I mean, we are a global brand. We have a global product. We need to be everywhere, and there is a limit to what we can spend. So we need to be smart about how we do it. And basically, we are gonna increase all our efforts, in all our channels during this year, so we can build up. But in the end, it's not a curtain moment. We are talking about, increasing PR over the year. We are gonna be doing more events, and we will do some ads maybe at some specific points to help push the message. But don't expect Super Bowl ads. That's not gonna happen, because, by the way, all Americans always talk about Super Bowl ads. That's US centric. No one else see that. Even if people outside of the US,
I don't even care about the Super Bowl. The only reason I go,
the ads don't go abroad.
Yeah, the only reason I go to the Super Bowl is because a guy I used to work for runs it, and he has a lot of craft beer there every time. But if it weren't for that, I wouldn't be there.
Sounds good. Yeah.
What about Twitter? Or is there a Twitter? I know they're more crypto friendly. They seem to be.
Up until now, they are being crypto friendly. I think in Twitter we can do some ads and test how they work. I don't think they work that well, at least the information I've got until now. But it's very specific depending on the campaign you do and your audiences. But in Twitter, we can do many things with our account. We are starting to think about our social media strategy in a more strategic way. Until now, it's been basically pushing every news that came from one place or another, and that just pushing that. But there's one person doing that and many other things. So he really can't keep up with the conversations. We have a Twitter account that has almost 300,000 followers. So we can't start doing many amazing things with that, and we are starting to work with that. Like in any other social media outlet, we need to think and execute. There are people doing very good things in every space. We need to hire people externally for the very specific tasks. My idea with the team is get a few smart generalists that can both manage Twitter guy that is working for us and manage a conference, because we don't want to build a huge marketing team. We want to, because Taskcore is just one of the organizations in the ecosystem. There's other people doing great marketing. We don't need to do everything. We need to have some people helping coordinate. One part of our job is talking with other proposal owners and talking with the community and helping them with their actions. Once we have the branding going, we want to set up like a events kit, and maybe anyone who's running a conference or doing a meetup, we can send that. So their job is easier, because if we do that at scale, it's going to be cheaper. And of course, they can do whatever they want and they can use whatever they have, but maybe we can provide that kind of tool. So the idea is to be like a coordination, but we don't plan to do everything. But in Twitter, some ads we can try. I'm not very confident, but you need to test and see if it works and measure. The thing is, I want to measure everything we spend and then analyze if the results are good. And if not, we nix that and we try something different.
Yeah, this is all excellent news. It sounds like Core is really ramping up. It also sounds like that they're going to be putting more proposals and stuff in and taking a little more of the budget. Do they know about what kind of percentage of the budget they're looking to take?
Not yet, because it also depends a lot on the price. We try to be careful, so there's room for everyone. Yeah. But there are many things going on in the community and in core team. We will try to be respectful and be careful. And anyway, masternodes can decide that they don't want to fund something from core, and that's okay. I mean, that doesn't mean defunding us. Maybe I put up a proposal for this program I've thought about, but that month the budget is more contested, and they say, listen, not this month. That's okay, I'll try next month. I mean, this is a system that is designed like that. A proposal not passing is part of the design. We'll be doing more proposals, but as far as percentages and all that, we're also getting a new CFO because Ryan is still doing that job, and he's been CEO for months. So we need a CFO in place to really do some more planning on and budgeting, because we really haven't been able to keep up. But there will be more proposal. In the last few months, we've done very few because of the price run up during 2017. We had a lot of money in our balance, so we didn't want to ask for more. Eventually, we'll start doing more proposals, because obviously the money we have will end, and people still need to get paid, and we have more ideas coming. But as always, this is a decentralized ecosystem. Masternodes have the last word, and we listen. So
I had another question. It's kind of a bit off topic, but once Evolution is released here in the next few months or the next coming months, I guess that will allow for the dApps and stuff will allow for developers to automatically, the first release they'll be able to start working on it, building dApps and stuff with the first release.
That's for probably the development team to answer what exactly will be in that MVP. The MVP will already allow to do certain things. I don't know if everything, but it will allow for third-party developers to build their own apps on our platform. To what extent, I can't answer yet. And
my understanding is there'll be an SDK, and as Chuck said the other week, that they're working on developer documentation at the same time. So, and actually in this video that was released towards the end, Chuck said that he was in communication with a business, and they were offering to lend some designs and stuff. So there's lots of communication going here, and they know that this is the interesting thing about that video. I was talking to Joel about this before we went live, was that this feels like, after I watched that video, I kind of had goosebumps, but in a kind of weird way. It feels like Dash is going into a new chapter. It's kind of like it's changing, because after you watch that video, you realize they're creating this platform and their foundation, but it has unlimited possibilities. So it could go in any direction, but it's all dependent on the developers that come on and what they build on it. So we don't know what that final picture is going to look like, because it's up to the developers to come in and paint that picture. So it's really exciting, but at the same time, it's not just like an evolution. It's like a paradigm shift, because it's changing everything that what we knew Dash was. And there's a great line in the video where they compared Evolution and this new solution, and they compare it. It's like Bitcoin and Ethereum in one, but next level. So I really think, and I hope, the video gets the acknowledgement and attention that it deserves, because I think the core team have done a fantastic job there. It's really, really good. If you've not seen it, make sure you watch it after this podcast.
Yeah, absolutely agree. The video is great. It's a completely different chapter internally, because we knew how things were going. I mean, we were very excited, but we could not share it for the reasons we've talked about before. So, but yeah, now being able to talk about this publicly and start releasing information, everyone is super excited to share this with the world. Regarding the video, it's a very niche video at the moment. I mean, it's 25 minutes, very deep, very dense. So there will be more releases of demos, blog posts, documentation. I hope that excitement outside of the hardcore community will build up over time. Well, it would be awesome if, I mean, tomorrow I open YouTube and I see 2 million views and everyone is talking about it, but it's going to probably happen in a more phased way. But I absolutely believe this is going to pick up. All the information is going to be coming out in the next few weeks, months. If not this video, the next one, the blog post. But as you say, this is a complete leap forward for Dash. Evolution is going to be a huge leap forward. What is happening right now is that we're just starting to release information. As you've seen, a demo evolution is not there yet. As I said, let's relax also a little. Let's not go crazy. There's a lot of work to do. This is a very difficult path to walk. This is not baking a cake with preset times that you put these ingredients in the oven and it's 10 minutes or 10 days or whatever. This is going to take some time. Plan is second half of this year, and then it will still be improved over the course of a lot of time because there are many features that will be built on top. So this is a long road to walk through, and we're just starting, but it's very exciting because we are starting to move.
Yeah, speaking of that, this is another kind of off topic of marketing. The roadmap. Speaking of all the, is there an update on when the roadmap is going to be updated?
Yeah, that's happening soon. That's happening soon. The developers are working on that. There are a couple meetings scheduled to discuss about that. But in any case, the roadmap will not contain hard dates because, as I said, this is a very complicated thing to do. There is no way we can say now when is the specific date, because when you start testing, you discover new problems. This is financial software. It needs to be extensively tested. We already have the plan. So we think we have everything. I mean, the developers think, I always say we because I feel we are a team, but I don't have a clue about many of the things. They are the ones that are really carrying the big weight in the product development. But we have the plan, but now we need to code that. And when we code that, there will be problems along the way. We've had problems with our product in the past. Suddenly, and Bitcoin has, and every protocol there, suddenly a new security problem appears, and there needs to be an update. So that happens when you've already tested and launched. When you are still building, it's still more uncertain. So the roadmap is going to happen soon. We're starting to show a lot of things. It's going to happen in the next few weeks, but I can't give you a date when it's going to be published, but it's not going to contain hard dates. It's going to contain an orientation. And that's all we are comfortable saying, because if we give hard dates and then we can't do them, it's like, oh, it's delayed. And so no, we are still working on it because this is a process. It's a very uncertain road. We have the plan, but we don't know what testing will show. We have the tools to solve every problem, but I think it's more of the milestone aspect as well, not just the dates, because they're just curious if certain things have changed in some of those milestones. So it's just future guidance. So in that timeline of just in what you're prioritizing on the chain, it's like, is everything still the same as last year? So yeah, I think it's great. And I think what I'll do this time is that when that roadmap comes out, hopefully, well, Joel and Brian will remind me. I'm going to try and make like an infographic breakdown of the roadmap, because I've seen other coins do that and we never do that. And it's an easy thing to share. So I will make sure that I do that this time, because I've seen that really benefit other cryptos. And I think we need to get that out there because, hey, we've got the best roadmap. Personal opinion. I'm biased, but hey, we've got a clear, concise roadmap to scale to 400 megabytes to rival Visa card, MasterCard. What other crypto in the top 20 can say that? Yeah, 1 gigabyte, I think, was the last I heard. Well, the plan Evan shared last year grew the block to 400 megabytes, which in fact it's equivalent to 1.2 gigabytes in Bitcoin, because we have four times more blocks. But and there I'm getting into a terrain I'm not comfortable because my skills are not good enough in that side. But what I talk with the developers is that in fact it could even go higher, and we could. I mean, it can grow whatever we need it to grow. The difficult part there now is going to be to put the transactions inside. I mean, the technology is one part. Then we need to change how people think about money so they can use, so they decide to use crypto. Dash, obviously. That's also a big challenge. I mean, technology is one side of the equation. Now we need social usage of the people. We need the product first, but then we need to start pushing for adoption like crazy. I mean, there's a lot of people already doing that, but the product is going to be much easier and much better to use very soon. And then we need the transactions and the people using it. So the growth in terms of block size, I don't think it's going to be the problem. The problem or the challenge is going to be because thousands of transactions per second, that is a lot of transactions. That is millions upon millions of people using Dash every day. And I think we can do that. I'm pretty convinced that we will do that, but it's going to be a very difficult challenge to do also.
Where's Evan? Like, is he still alive? Do you speak to him? How often do you speak to him? I mean, this was his brainchild. We all remember watching that video back in 2015, and now we've got the first demo video out. Where is Evan?
He's still around. He doesn't like day-to-day management, so he decided to step away from the team. But he's in pretty close contact with the inner circle of developers. I mean, and they talk all the time. In fact, he lives close to one of them, and he's pretty in contact with this inner circle. He's thinking more on the longer term. I mean, the plan for the next few years, it's still in place. It's already in place. So he's thinking farther away. He's in contact with the developers. He really checks the technology part is in place, but he was never a very public person. Back in the beginning of the project, I joined when the project was a few months old. So I remember some conversation with him, and he didn't really want the public-facing part and the management part of the project. But back then, he had to do it because I remember one conversation saying, dude, at this moment, Darkcoin is Evan and Evan is Darkcoin. You can't just step aside. You need to push it. In a couple of years, when the team is bigger, there are more people around, you can pull a Satoshi if you want, although he's not done that. But at the moment, you need to be here. And then he spoke at conferences. He was very public. And that was not what he liked, that he did for the project. So now that there are more people doing that, he prefers to stay in the shadows, but he's still there. And I think we need to respect that, because obviously everyone has his own personality.
That makes sense.
Even us a lot.
There's definitely been a little bit of a disconnect with the rest of the cryptoverse because Bitcoin came out and Satoshi disappeared, right? Not quite in that short order, but still Bitcoin has been a global decentralized project. All the other major cryptocurrencies have a little bit of a cult of personality going on, right? You go down the list. We have, even something as big as Ethereum, the price tanked when there was a rumor that Vitalik got killed. Just crushed right then. Litecoin is the cult of Charlie Lee. Monero has Fluffy Pony. Yeah. Cardano is Charles Hoskinson. Like every single one is like a one person. And then when you ask who's the Bitcoin guy, there's not really a clear answer. Same thing with Dash. Like who's the Dash guy? Well, Evan was, but he's kind of hiding. He's enjoying himself. Ryan Taylor does some stuff, but then it's like, how about the Dash Force people? How about some other people? There's no real one answer in that.
Are you kidding me? Like Dash Force has got like over 20 employees now. Dash Force alone has more people than most core teams in the top 20 crypto cap. It's true. It's funny because it's true.
You are already at 20?
Yeah, we've got all the international translators. We've got the moderators. Yeah, we've got all sorts going on.
Congratulations. That's huge. I agree. We are more decentralized. I mean, we are keeping true to the promise of decentralization.
Yep.
We've been trying to reduce our bus factor, the number of people a bus needs to hit to destroy the project. We are trying to increase that. And I think we are doing a very good job in that.
I definitely like that because I could imagine a couple of coins that would completely be erased if a bus hit one person, not just strongly affected, like you see, like if Ethereum's price took a hit, but no, if Vitalik got hit by a bus, Ethereum would still probably be okay. But then there's a couple, like, I don't want to. It rhymes with Itecoin. And if you hit someone with a bus, that's it. It's over.
Here today, gone tomorrow.
I think it's very good that there's no.
You know what that's like, huh, Mark?
I know. I had an afro before I got into crypto. Still do in some places.
Yeah. One thing, if there's for any of our new viewers, Fernando, can you talk a little bit about your background?
Sure. By training, I'm a lawyer and an economist. I never really worked as a lawyer, but because I'm a lawyer, many of the legal stuff in the team has fallen into me along the time. I had a corporate career, mostly in sales and marketing for something like 10 years, something like that. But then I went solo. I started a small business from scratch. I was doing that for a few years. I also did some real estate investing. And then I discovered crypto. And in the beginning, it was my hobby. It went out of control. And I've ended up putting my business on hold and hiring people to manage that and moving to another country so I can escape from that and be more focused on Dash because this really gets you. And that's the case for many people in the team. I mean, there's people that, and probably for all of you, I mean, you've probably quitted all the things sometimes more profitable because you just need to do this.
Yeah.
So that was who I was. I mean, I have my corporate life in sales and marketing. Then I started my business, and obviously my role in my business was always on the business side.
But you've been around since 2014, right? You've been there since the beginning.
Yeah.
In fact, in the last rebranding, I remember you was instrumental in that because that was on the Darkcoin Foundation website where we voted. And I think it was you that maybe even posted it.
Yeah. I've been looking through some old white papers like the Instant X, now Instant Send white paper, because some people were asking questions about, is it even necessary to have Instant Send if you have zero confirmation like Bitcoin Cash? Again, look forward to the article whenever that comes out. But I noticed your name was on that paper as well.
Yeah, I joined pretty early on. And I mean, I discovered Darkcoin when it was like in March and it had launched in January, February, March. I started to get involved little by little, like almost everyone. Then I saw a few things I could work on the legal side. When Evan started talking about masternodes, I saw some similarities with the Tor nodes. So I contacted a foundation in the US that had been doing some work with Tor. I had some meetings with them to have some guidance on how to design this in a safer way. And then I contacted Evan. I had not talked with him anytime. And I sent him an email. I said, listen, I've been doing this. You want to listen to it? And he said, sure, let's talk. And we started talking and we bond pretty well together. And I started doing all kind of stuff. And in the beginning, it was just a few people. I was the first non-developer really joining officially the team.
But you was a foundation member as well, though, right?
Yeah, we created back then we decided most projects were getting financed through a foundation, and we thought that was a good idea. Then
Tell them what the joining fee was. I think it's still listed as well. It's like 99 Dash or something like that.
Yeah, the lifetime membership was 100 Dash. I paid that. And then the yearly membership was 10 Dash.
Is it still going now? Like, because the website's still there, but I mean, like, do you guys still meet? Because now we've got the governance system. Like, is that now obsolete?
Yeah, the foundation is still real. There's some money there because those membership dues, we didn't spend everything. We mostly spent on the trademark defense proceeding we had going on there then. And then we've kept it alive because of that, because that trademark proceeding is still going on. So we need the foundation to finish that. And then probably it makes sense to think about what we want to do with the foundation. Then we probably need to make an election for a new board to really make that decision.
So you're still taking on new members. So if there's anyone out there with 99 Dash that wants to become a board member.
It has to be 100 Dash if you want to become a lifetime member. We don't do discounts. The idea with this was we will finance development with membership dues and the revenue from the foundation. That's what people were thinking back then that could be done.
Well, it was a steering group, right? You'd make big decisions, but this was, saying like it was before the governance and the mastermind system.
But really... we realized the system was not good because it's basically a foundation system. It's a donations system. Some people pay for the system to be developed, but not everyone. And there was not enough money. We could barely afford to do this trademark proceeding contest of someone else trying to trademark Dash. So it's not a good model. And then we started discussing about this governance system once we had the masternodes in place, and it makes much more sense. So once this trademark thing is finished, we will need to talk about the foundation. There are some funds there, and what we do with them, what we do with the foundation. But that's a conversation for a little bit down the road. And back then, I did that website, the foundation one, and I posted that poll we did to vote on the logo we have currently. And I'm in the instant send paper, but that was just Evan being generous. I mean, it was mostly Evan, but then both Holger and me served as probably Holger did more than me. Evan tested everything with us. We discussed for a few weeks with him and tested his ideas. So as he kept evolving them, I helped with probability calculations that he needed to do. And Holger helped with the network part. And that's why the three of us are in that paper. But Instant Send, it's Evan creation. I mean, and he was generous and he included us.
You mentioned your legal background, and this is very interesting because today there's a little bit of a controversy regarding everyone's favorite person, Charlie Shrem, and it's been a year since he was paid by the Dash Network to deliver something, and he has been out of communication for a while. And we've roasted him on Twitter yesterday, and no response. He's ignoring us. So he took 450 Dash and ran away with it. What can be done, probably, or a Lambo or something.
He's got a boat. He's got a boat.
Yeah, that was probably it.
I was roasting him about it.
No, he's got it. He's got it in dollars, but this is a long story. I don't want to put the public. I want to give him an opportunity to come out.
Yes, obviously today we will need to explore better escrow services, things like that, in order to, and also legal contracts. But right now, is there anything that can be done legally against Mr. Shrem to make sure he delivers? Seeing as you're the legal expert in the room?
Not really. I mean, very, very little. Reality is cards barely work in any country. Anything you can do negotiated, much better than in a card. And in this case, the other side is a network, which you can't really identify. It would be extremely difficult. Maybe someone, a masternode owner, could sue him, but it's going to be a really tough one. I think it's a learning experience. The system was young, and we trusted everyone that came by saying nice things. Since then, we've changed many things. We also used to do very long proposals, multi-month proposals, and then we learned that that was not a good idea because of volatility. And then now no one does things longer than 2 or 3 months, or very few people. It's all a learning process, and I think we, as you've said, we need to give him a chance maybe to really deliver, because also, I mean, credit cards and crypto are very difficult. Maybe he thought it was going to be easier, and then we've had this close down on Visa, on crypto, and then making it more difficult. I think he should communicate more, but I mean, we probably, I don't think suing people would be very useful here, but I think it's a learning experience. We've gone through it. It's not the only proposal that has failed. There has been others, and there will be more. That's part of the project, and that's part of the system. That's how it works. And I don't think we should obsess on optimizing the governance part. It's good enough. I want developers putting their time on the product, on what the users see. Governance is for us, the hardcore dashers who obsess about it, but the resources should be put on the product. And then we have a system that is 80% good. It's not perfect. It has its limitations. Sometimes someone like him will come and will not deliver, or someone will do something that doesn't work well. There are some nuances in the process, and there are things that don't work perfectly, but they work good enough to place us in a better situation than any other crypto project out there. And then with that, we need to build a product.
Yeah, like a Dash enforcement, or Dash enforcers, or the Dash Force, maybe.
Yes.
The defenders of Dash. Not joking.
Yes, I need to start building an arsenal so I can go chase after these proposal owners and do the sideways carry to their head. Yo, you got to deliver. No.
Yeah, you have to have standing to sue. And would just doing the proposal, would that be considered a contract, or is that just
that? No one knows about that.
Yeah,
I mean, if you go to a cart and try them to understand Dash and what is crypto and the masternodes and the network, and you hold the masternode, so you say you have a claim against this guy, but what is the masternode and how does this proposal system work? And the judge is gonna just write that off and not bother, because no one is gonna spend weeks trying to understand this. So that's why I'm saying I don't think it would be really useful, and the likelihood of the network, whoever it is, recovering those funds is negligible. So I would focus on other things and still give him the opportunity. Chasing him, asking for information is good. I think we need information, and he at least should provide that. But I would not obsess over going to cards, because that's only going to cost a lot of money, probably more than he's gone away with, and we would get nothing.
Core is setting up stuff like that, though, protections, though, right? Various.
We have a law firm working with us for the day-to-day stuff. When we do escrow, we do contracts and we all that. And when we do business development, there's always a contract behind that. If there's a payment, there's a contract that clearly establishes everything that needs to be done. And there's a person on the other side. There's a company, Dash Core Group Inc., that is the other side of the contract. So we could eventually sue someone if something didn't happen or happened. So that part is taken care. But there's been a lot of talk about if a proposal wants to give, for example, some shares in his company to the network. How does that work? Core should take that. We don't really think we should take that. That puts you in a completely different position. You start managing investments. That's not what we do. There's room for someone to create an entity and try to manage that, but there are a lot of legal uncertainties there, because we're talking about the network, crypto, and very complex stuff, and laws are usually way behind. And then we are paying for some work to be done in that area, and we will release that. So anyone can use it if they want, and maybe build that other organization. But that's still being done because it's not as easy as it sounds.
Is Core planning on expanding their escrow offering? Are they planning on getting a person that just handles the escrow? Or
also, is there going to limit to how many can be done a month? Like, what if there's 40 proposals every month? They say we want to use Core's escrow. Is that going to be feasible? Like, what are the limitations of that?
Yeah, I was talking with our new CFO about that. He's right now building a plan around that.
Did you say new CFO?
CFO, Chief Financial Officer.
So there's been a new CFO recruited, or are you just talking about Ryan here?
No, there's a new one that is going to start very soon.
Oh, this is news. So there we go.
No, it was published. I mean, we've talked about this before. We recruiting a CFO. He's going to start very soon. He's great. He's got an amazing profile.
Excellent. Is he from the finance background before? Like, we also will go into it later on, but I mean, there's a pattern with Bradley, American Express, obviously Ryan from the payments industry. Is there a pattern now with the new CFO?
CFO comes from finance sector, but I don't want to talk much about him until he joins.
Oh, come on, Fernando.
You get to know him. I was talking escrow. That's one of the first things he will take over, because it's important. The idea, I think, should hope for a healthy market to develop for escrow.
Is there any new employees? Are you trying to hire any new people? Like, is there anything else happened in the last few weeks, like new core team members, or are you on the search for even yourself?
At the moment, there are 10 people being recruited. We are recruiting for around 10 new positions.
Wow.
There's a lot going on. We have 2 people in human resources, and one of them is a recruiter. And there's a lot of work going on to grow the team. We are understaffed in certain areas, and we are working there. And there's new people joining in the next few weeks, months, whenever we find them.
Wasn't you close to like 70 core team members before previously? Like, what's it going to be now? Like,
we are around 60. More
60. Oh, so we're getting to the 70 number sooner or later.
Yeah. I mean, in business development, for example, Bradley already has one regional manager, Omar, in the US, but he's gonna have people he talked about this in the quarterly call. He's gonna have someone from Latin America, someone for Asia, someone for Europe and Middle East. So he still needs 2 or 3 people in his team. I'm hiring for marketing. There's several development positions being looked upon. So there's a lot of growth. But there's a lot of things that are coming, and that's the kind of stuff we want to talk. Going back to what we talked in the beginning of the podcast about communicating more and explaining more this kind of stuff, because we realize it's a bit of a black box and you don't really see everything that is going on. So hopefully, by getting people in the team to write about their daily work, you can see a bit more about that. But yeah, there's a lot of going on. And going back to escrow, because I'm very I hate leaving things open and hanging around there. I'm very German there, I guess. Too much time with Germans in the team. Anyway, going back to escrow, we think probably there should be a healthy market for escrow. So escrow with Dash Core, we do it because we realized there was that limitation in the system, and we wanted to help the network. But that's not our core competency. And other people can do that too, and we are happy that other people do it. Escrow with Dash Core doesn't mean endorsement in any way. We just get a contract in place. We define some milestones and we pay. It doesn't imply any kind of endorsement. So when the new CFO finally joins, he's going to be working on how we can do this in a structured way, because we want a healthy market to develop. And for that, there needs to be room for others to be doing this.
So does this mean, now that there's a new CFO, will the network vote to allow Ryan to now have 4 hours of sleep a night, up from 3?
No way. He needs to be absolutely focused on Dash. He can have vacation on 2045, 2040 if he behaves, and he will never sleep again. That's in his contract.
All right, and is it signed on the blockchain right next to the cannabis genome?
I mean, CFO is good, but Ryan is. I mean, he has a lot of things to do as a CEO that he could be doing. I mean, this is just more work being done, not people relaxing.
Yeah.
Well, this is a great podcast. There's so much good information that came out of it. I think we should probably wrap up. And yeah, I'd like to thank Fernando for coming on, and hopefully he can come back, more often and up.
Yeah, whenever you want.
Yeah, this is great.
So April 1st then is the date we've got to look forward to for the vote, right?
Well, no, the vote is happening before. I mean, we publish information this week, and then a few days after that, we put the proposals, and we will start seeing the results. What I think is that the vote closes on April 1st, or the cycle ends on April 1st. I'm not sure at the moment.
Would you be upset? Would you be upset if Mastodon owners? Because I'm guessing you're going to go to the Mastodon only channel. So would you be upset if those images leaked from the Mastodon only channel into the main community?
No,
because then it's going to get mixed.
I will be posting them on the forum, and then on the proposal. I don't think. I'm happy with messy discussions.
Yeah.
This brings me to the topic of Dash Central being close to MNOs or not. I think that it's true that when you open things, there's a lot of noise, and sometimes there are trolls and they disrupt the discussion. But in general, I'm happy to accept that in order to have a more open discussion. I mean, if Elon Musk came tomorrow to Dash Central, wouldn't you want his opinion, even if he's not a masternode? Well, I would want him to buy a masternode, but if he does, I mean, someone very smart who doesn't have a masternode, I want to listen to him. Many people in the team don't have a masternode, and I really like their opinions. So if having those opinions means that I need to listen to someone else trolling the discussion, I'm happy to do that sacrifice and having a messier discussion in order for it to be richer. So the information is going to be in the forum and then in the proposal. I'm just saying the forum first because depending on the format of how we do this vote and proposals, I want all the information to be in one place, and then we do the proposals because maybe we will have two or one. We still don't know that. So we will do.
Yeah, it's good because then you've got a record as well by doing it on the forums. It's always there. And we can, in 2 years' time from now, we can go back and look on it.
Listen, look what we were discussing. How could we do that? It's terrible when you go to old post.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, there you go. Elon Musk, if you're watching, come over to Dash. We want some Dash satellites up there. Dash to the moon, right? Hashtag Dash to 10K. So, right, Joel, have you got any final questions? Because I know you was in the Mastodon channel earlier and you was rummaging about. So is there anything, speak now or forever hold your peace?
Yes. Well, let me try to knock out one of the questions because I've been going through Waxwood PR to get questions from the community answered by Dash Core, and I will be submitting these today. Let's see if I could skip one. One of the most popular ones is what's going to happen with a specific designated communication person working on the core team to communicate with the community full time, basically. I heard that was mentioned before at some point. Is that going to happen anytime soon?
Yeah, in fact, I talk about that in the blog post I posted today at blog.dash.org. We don't think communication should be the role of just one person. We want everyone communicating. So we are not planning on having a speaker, to call it somehow. We're planning on everyone involved in communication and having a more open team to the community, so the interactions are better. It's very difficult to really know everything that is going on in the team. It's spread around the world. It's decentralized by functions. So even if we had one person, it's not easy for that person to really get everything. So I think it's better if developers are talking, business people are talking, Ryan is talking, everyone is talking, and then there's a lot of outflow of information. We believe that's a better model. Make communication part of our daily routine instead of appointing someone and still be closed inside. We prefer to open the door.
Yes. So that seems like exactly what the communities wanted, and it seems like the exact opposite of what they've gotten over, say, the past year. Is there any reason why it wasn't that way since the beginning, or why that completely dropped off?
Yeah,
from what you know, at least.
Yeah, I know. As I explained in my blog post, quoting myself, it's bad, but there are basically two reasons. One was growth. We were experiencing a lot of growth in work and in people, but that puts a lot of tension. People has been working, some people 20 hours a day, and trying to survive. So when you are in that mood, in that working mode, internal communication suffers and external communication suffers. We've grown from 15, 20 people to 60 very fast, spread around the world. So everything suffered in the process. Finally, we are getting to a point where we are more comfortable. We can be more deliberate, and we can spend more time thinking about the message and opening it to the community. That was a big factor. Also, for example, this blog, some people in the team are going to be writing in. It had been attempted before, but when you are 10 and only 2 want to write, it's more difficult. Now we are 60, and then maybe 12 or 15 people want to be posting about their daily job. Then you have content that you can do that. In the past, there were not enough people. Not everyone is comfortable talking publicly and all that. So now we have a bigger number of people that is comfortable doing that. We have a more calm setup. We are still growing, but we have those structures with the different functions in the team, and things are working more smoothly. So I think that was a big factor. And the second factor also was evolution. We couldn't do information about evolution because of this patent being filled and not wanting to share much information. So in the end, you can say, yeah, it's coming, but that's all you can say. So
how confident are you that it's actually going to pass, though, like that patent? So is it 100% okay? Because it's like pending, right?
I'm absolutely, yeah. Patents will take a lot of time, but what we've done is it's real innovation. What the developers have done, I mean, the people list in that patent as inventors, and also other people in the team that has worked with them. In the end, you need to put some names there, and I think there's 8 developers in that patent, but there are more people around them that probably has some influence. And anyway, these, with everything in Dash, is standing on the shoulders of giants. I mean, we need to acknowledge that we are a fork of Bitcoin. There's a lot of people in the open source movement that has done a lot, both in crypto and in other areas of the open source movement. We are standing on their shoulders. And in the end, this patent is the work of a reduced group of people, but relying on things that came before. So this patent is real innovation. It's going to go through. There's no doubt about that.
Okay, well, I definitely think the quote of the podcast was definitely from Fernando. I like messy. I think you need to update your Twitter bio with that.
Yeah, you need to have a picture, with the hair tousled and like mud on your face.
That can be the next one.
Excellent. Well, okay, but that was episode 43 of the Dash Force Free Amigos podcast. If you didn't know, we now actually have audio resources where you can listen to the podcast on iTunes, Google, and a few other places.
Yes, it's syndicated on the Pax Libertas podcast network as well as LRN.FM. So and a few others. It's starting to grow.
So if you are interested in the future, tomorrow there is the article posting with the video, and then there's the links to all of that. And if you're really, really impatient, you can go to last week's podcast article from last Saturday, and the links are on there as well. Excellent stuff.
Yes.
So yeah, we hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Smash for Dash.
And there's the after party. The main probably most active community channel of all for Dash is the Dash Nation Discord channel. And so you go to dashchat.org, and that's the quick link to get in there. Now, we do have the after party is sort of like this, except much less formal. Not like this is formal, but it's limited to 10 people at a time. It can go on for hours and hours and hours. People coming and going. And so usually you just go in to dashchat.org and then you just start asking about the after party. How do I get into the after party? But we will have people in who can do this right now, can have their microphone and webcam on, or sometimes just microphone, and then just have an informal chat like this. We just hang out for hours on end. There's other people that pop in and out. Sometimes I'm like, I gotta go, I got a date, and then you take off, and then someone else pops in, and then usually, Mark stays way too long for his time zone. So
it's true. It's true.
Prepare for that.
Excellent. Okay, so we're here every Friday. Times have changed now, so it's 7 p.m. if you're in the UK, UTC, 3 p.m. EST if you're in the States, and we'll see
2
you
2 p.m. Brian time.
2 p.m. Brian time. I don't know what time Fernando time, but we hope he comes back another time. So we'll see you
whenever you want.
Whenever. Okay, excellent. So same dash time, same dash channel next week. Excellent. And have a great weekend and stay dashy.